Welcome viewers to the Saturday, May 10th edition of 284 News. I am Jacques Wooding, bringing you our top stories from this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Governor Daniel PRUCE has published the final review of the COI implementation along with a public feedback report. PRUCE hosted a press conference on Friday where he stated that the government is yet to fully deliver on all of the recommendations as there remains 5 areas needing attention. However, Governor PRUCE said he has provided an objective assessment, noting that the cross-government effort that has gone into the progress that has been achieved, particularly in the recent months, has been extremely laudable. He believes there has been commitment across the board to move things forward.
I'd also, I think, reflect, as I sought to state in my opening remarks, that where we are now is with 5 recommendations of those original 48, which for differing reasons are not yet fully completed. But as we've noted, 2 of those, for many, many months now, we've recognized were going to have to be delayed for reasons beyond our control. So that was the question of the judge-only trials and the criminal procedure rules. A third, in relation to vetting, so sitting within my responsibility, we've made good progress, even this week, by launching the vetting of our VIPF officers. But we've got a bit further to go with the vetting of the other officers identified in the COI report, so prisons, customs, immigration. So we're not quite there yet on that one. Immigration, the amendment to the amendment just come to me for assent. I've just assented to it. So that hopefully will enter into force very soon. So not far off there. Public assistance, I know the ministry are working hard to put in place the regulations to enable that change of legislation to become a reality. Formally, at the moment, it hasn't yet entered into force. So I linger on that in some detail because I think it's important to understand that within that headline figure of 5, there is quite a lot of detail which is very relevant, which gives a sense of how close we are to progressing in each of those 5.
Meanwhile, the government of the Virgin Islands has officially marked its implementation of the COI recommendations as completed. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley made the announcement and addressed the public to that end during a press conference on Friday.
I'm pleased to welcome everyone to this press conference to provide you with an update on the completion and submission of the Government of the Virgin Islands Self-Assessment Report on the Commission of Inquiry. You'll recall that the Minister for the Overseas Territories visited the Virgin Islands on the 4th through the 6th of November 2024 and requested a self-assessment report from the government. This report, along with the Governor's final review and FCDO review of specific recommendations and submissions from the public, would be assessed to determine whether the order in council to partially suspend the Constitution of the Virgin Islands would be lifted. You would have heard the Governor's press conference this morning where he presented his final review of the implementation of the Commission of Inquiry recommendations. I thank Governor PRUCE for what I believe is a balanced report in which we are aligned for the most part.
Premier Wheatley confirmed that the final self-assessment report was submitted to the UK Overseas Territories Minister on May 8th. He acknowledged the difficult path, recalling that the Virgin Islands had stood on the brink of losing more than 7 decades of self-governance.
It is little over 3 years ago that the COI report was published in the Virgin Islands on the 29th April 2022. History will mark that date as the beginning of a transformational journey of governance change for the Virgin Islands. Today, I can announce with a strong sense of Virgin Islands pride that the significant milestone of submitting the Government of the Virgin Islands Self-Assessment Report on the implementation of the recommendations of the COI report. This report was approved by the Cabinet on the 30th April 2025 and tabled in the House of Assembly on the 6th of May. It was sent to the OT Minister yesterday, 8th of May, when it was shared with the public along with a statement that I made in the House of Assembly yesterday. The government's report, along with the governor's final review of specific recommendations by FCDO officials, and submissions from the public are all now with the OT Minister for his consideration, with a view to making a recommendation on whether to lift the order in council now that the framework agreement has been completed.
In other news, a controversial decision to convert part of the Joes Hill Manor estate into student housing is raising eyebrows. What was initially conceived as an affordable housing project for first-time Virgin Islands homeowners is now being repurposed to accommodate students and faculty of PONS Health Sciences University. More in this report. A decision to use part of the Joes Hill Manor estate for student housing has drawn criticism from some residents and raised concerns about the intent of the development. The move, confirmed through a heads of teams agreement signed between the Social Security Board and PONS Health Sciences University on April 28, 2025, marks a shift in the project, which was originally intended to provide affordable housing for Virgin Islanders. The agreement outlines terms for PHSU to lease up to 50% of Joes Hill Manor estate for housing its students and faculty. The decision comes after the initial purpose of the manor estate, which was announced in 2017 as part of the First-Time Homeowners Program, failed to meet expectations. Despite the original plan's focus on providing homes for first-time homeowners, the estate has struggled with sluggish sales, leaving many units unsold. The Social Security Board had hopes to see a return on its investment through the sale of these homes. However, only few of the 52 units have been sold, with prices ranging from $275,900 for a one-bedroom condo to $625,000 for the largest three-bedroom townhouse. Following relaxed eligibility criteria, the Social Security Board still has a significant number of homes unsold, raising concerns about the long-term viability of the development. The partnership between the Social Security Board and PHSU was first announced in March 2025, and while it is seen as a step forward for the development of the territory's first medical school, the decision to house students in the estate's units has sparked controversy. Critics argue that the move undermines the original intent of providing affordable housing for local residents. The estate's location, which is perched on 7 acres of hillside views of Road Town, was initially promoted as a solution to the territory's housing crisis. However, despite early interest, sales have remained stagnant, and only about 20% of the property has been sold or is under contract to Virgin Islanders. Premier Dr. The Honorable Natalio Wheatley expressed his support for the agreement, stating, "The medical school represents great economic benefits to the people of the Virgin Islands. We recognize that this medical school will bring a great influx of young people to the territory, and this venture could not be facilitated without the Social Security Board." Vice President of Operations at PHSU, Dr. Daniel Perez, also spoke about the value of the partnership, noting that the collaboration between the two institutions will help fulfill the health requirements of the region. The Social Security Board's Deputy Chairman, Mr. Broderick Penn, acknowledged that while this partnership may generate a return on investment for the board, the initial goal of the project has not been forgotten. Penn explained, "This partnership aligns with the socio-economic empowerment vision of the organization, particularly considering the potential of the school to impact the territory financially, socially, and even medically." Local residents have raised concerns that the shift in purpose could further limit their access to affordable housing, which remains in short supply. And with that, we take a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Yo, everything good there?
Aye. This thing got me one way, daddy.
What you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What you really? Hey, this ain't like you, you know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out of trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I watching ball. I even watching football. Dog, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hooked, I tell you.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. NDP's Marlon PENN says the party has begun re-engaging the various district committees, ensuring they are active. PENN stated that the first order of business was to merge the NDP and the PVIM. He says the next step now is to get people involved as the party charts the way forward.
You can't have a vision moving forward if the people are not part of that vision and part of that moving forward. So we've re-engaged our district associations on the ground, and the intention is to have all these district associations active and make sure that people are moving forward within a structured environment where decisions are made based on the constitution of the organization in a structured where we've strayed from that approach in years past, and I think it's important for us to move forward in a structured way that respects the constitution of the organization, and we're moving that direction. And the next step is to have a democratic process to ensure that the officers within the organizations are elected democratically, which we've committed to, and we're committed to moving forward that way. We've already started the process of building out our vision for the country. We've had several conversations in terms of think tank to move that forward, and we're open to persons who are interested in sort of sharing their view on some of the key issues, the key elements of moving this country forward, so that we all could be on the same page in terms of the plans and visions for moving this country forward. So we're moving in a structured way, but we're bringing the people along with us, and not us just feeling that we could dictate what should happen for the people.
Ronnie Skelton, who has moved as leader of PVIM to join the NDP, says he supports the statements made by PENN, adding that with the mobilizing of persons, the party should be ready for the election in 2 years' time if it is not called earlier.
It's quite true what Marlon is saying. We have to, and in this unification, I turn to my side and say we have to build it from the ground up. We have to make sure that the people that support us understand that this is extremely important and is necessary, and it's the only solution forward for the country, basically. Marlon is quite, again, he has outlined that we got to get into the districts, and we have to get the district committees and the supporters in the district, core people in the district, to start energizing the district and let them know that let the country know that we are serious about managing the affairs of the country moving forward. And we have, if the election is not called in a snap form, we have another 2 years to go before the election. And within 24 months, we should be able to accomplish all that is necessary in order to put things together. Well, it's already almost there, final, because we are still working on the Constitution part of it to mesh both together, take the good from each side. And I show the NDP, based on my knowledge, there were some amendments that were needed, and the NDP's constitution, PBIM constitution, was based a lot of it was an end of NDP's constitution. But what we were able to do is add some stuff to it to make it a bit more effective, really.
Okay.
So that is happening, and we have some good, strong people who are willing to help us along the way. And
in other news, come June 1st, people will have to go back to paying for parking at the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport. An amnesty program is now in effect until Sunday, May 31st. On that day, vehicle owners are urged to remove their vehicles from the airport parking lot without incurring any fees or penalties. On Sunday, June 1st, however, all vehicles attempting to exit the parking lot without a valid parking ticket will be subject to standard parking fees. Here's Managing Director of the BVI Airports Authority, Kurt Minal, who speaks about the measure.
For the last few months, actually more than a few months, our system has been down because it was obsolete. So we were in the process of procuring a new system. Right now we're in the process of implementing the new system. We're going to be putting in new arms, new pay-on-foot machines. So everything is on the ground already. We're just going to install, then test. And it would take us up until the end of May to go live. During the period when it wasn't working, patrons were allowed to park for free, essentially. So everybody entered the parking lot for free, paying nothing. Obviously, it's a business we're running. So effective 1st of June, midnight on 1st of June, everybody will have to revert to paying again. So between now and the 31st, essentially you continue to park for free. But if you are in there on the morning of the 1st of June, you start to incur charges. So that's essentially what it is.
Meanwhile, the government continues to move forward with its plan to extend the Terence B. Lettsome International Airport. In November last year, Cabinet approved a strategic outline case that sets out options for the project, including a proposed runway length of 7,000 feet to meet major airline requirements. In a recent government program, Communications and Works Minister, the Honorable Kai Reimer, said that receiving the business case is crucial to their plans.
We are doing our reviews right now, and hopefully you'll hear more about that coming up shortly. So that is something that we've been waiting on for quite some time. I think when I was on the first program, I stated a date, and the company KPMG, they actually lived up to that date, and they were able to submit the report on the 25th. So like I said, that is something you'll be hearing more of shortly. We go through the cabinet process, and then the document would be made public with the expansion of the airport. And, while we're on the airport, we are excited as to what is happening there with airlift. We have our restrictions. I know you would have heard about the numbers increasing with the airport, but we still have the limitations. And I think in terms of the expansion, it is something that we are committed to, and we are definitely looking forward to the next stage. I wouldn't reveal much of what is in the business cases yet, since we have to go through that process.
And viewers, with that, we take a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Pop the Balloon or Find the Connection. Let's meet our first contender, ladies. Okay, Joey, so do you have any toxic traits?
I'm very restrictive. I don't give more time. What you get is what you get. I don't like to give unlimited time. That's it.
Okay, can you tell us why you popped your balloon?
That's a little too restricted for me.
Thank you for coming. Okay, ladies, so let's meet our second contender.
Sorry, excuse me. Why did you pop a balloon?
I
could give you minutes, data, unlimited call, overseas call, fiber. What else you need?
My friend used to date you. You are scam. She used to pay for everything and more. Nothing to offer.
Okay, ladies, let's welcome our last contender. You look nice. Can you tell us your name?
Thank you. My name is Christian Charles Thomas. They call me C Sweetie.
What do you have to offer these ladies?
Well, security, trust, unlimited time, and I'm pretty fast.
Okay, so do you have any deal breakers?
Nah, but here's my number. 444-4444. Y tú, vida ilimitada.
Okay, guys, so no pop balloons.
For a fast, reliable, and secure connection for your personal or business life, call us at 444-4444 or visit any of our CCT stores and we'll get you connected with the perfect match for you.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with news that 2 children's books celebrating agriculture, culture, and youth education were officially launched this week by authors Jeffrey and Arona Forbes in partnership with the Department of Culture. Co-author Arona Forbes said her motivation for creating the coloring book stemmed from a deep background in agriculture and a desire to reconnect children with nature.
Well, my profession is gardening. I studied, I grew up in agriculture and I studied it up to the level of a master. And I just feel it's my calling. So children, I think we have moved away, and you will see children as small as they are, they just look at, you see them with an iPad or something like that, and they don't be out in the environment to learn nature and what have you. So I felt it was essential to do a gardening book, teach the children when they are during the summer how to gain money, how to learn how to grow. And then from that book, I put it into a coloring book. So children can also color whatever favorite colors they want to color the pictures.
The storybook, Johnny the Great Rooster, highlights the role of roosters in the ecosystem and daily life, tying into local cultural symbolism. Co-author Jeffrey Forbes spoke about the importance of roosters in soil health, food production, and environmental sustainability.
I've learned a lot of things over the years. The rooster, I can step aside and talk about the trushes that are very disgusting. One time, a farmer told me that the trushes also help us get rid of insects. So everything actually have its part playing in life to have the ecosystem at a level. So with the rooster now, we have the benefit of eggs, we have the benefit of the population of more chickens, and also with the turning up of the soil, because they also cause the soil to remain loose, and with their waste that they send out, that's very, very, very good manure. So they do pose a strong portion in having the ecosystem to be rotating. Kind of provide food, and they also provide the stability of the soil, the keeping of the soil, the fertilizing of the soil, all those things they do have. So in the book, it mentions all those things. So with having students and young children, they will be learning of how it is. Now the manufacturers are trying to create as close to the manure that we get naturally. So they're trying to create what you have in your yard that is creating it and still can become food for you.
Deputy Director at the Department of Culture praised the books for blending education, agriculture, and storytelling in a format acceptable to young minds.
First of all, when the Department of Culture was approached about launching these books, we were very excited because, yes, we launched the initial Arona's First Garden book a few years ago, and here comes Johnny the Great Rooster, and of course the coloring book. So agriculture, everyone has a lot nowadays to say about agriculture and its importance to our economy and to our livelihoods, and the challenges that we see around us that taking place, causing many of us to look at created more backyard gardens, and it's actually very important that the population is better educated on the importance that each of these the rooster has to play in the whole balancing of the environment and your backyard gardens. And as a Virgin Islander, I grew up with having a lot of chickens around and animals around. Our young people nowadays, many of them do not actually experience those things. And the Johnny the Great Rooster, the book, plus the coloring book, actually enables us to educate our children. Many believe that you educate a child and you educate a nation.
Right.
These children go home to their parents. Mommy, I learned about Johnny the Great Rooster today and the importance that his role is. Mm-hmm. And it's a great educational tool for our children and by extension the families that these children are a part of.
The books are currently available via direct contact with the authors on Amazon and through the Department of Culture. In other news, the Office of the Deputy Governor has officially relaunched its internship program, opening the doors of the public service to a new generation of aspiring professionals. The announcement came during April's installment of the Deputy Governor's, monthly message hosted by Acting Communications Officer UC Adams. Deputy Governor David Archer Jr. appeared alongside 2 student interns who shared their insights into their hands-on placements across key government departments.
I was placed in Ministry of Finance. Also in the HR unit. I learned multiple of stuff. It was enjoyable, first of all, and I learned how to navigate the JDE units, edit some files, filing, and stuff around that.
Yeah. So I know the Ministry of Finance is a busy place to work and a lot is always happening. Did you feel like you were able to integrate well and become a part of the team? And most importantly, learn things that can be impactful for you in your life?
Yeah, I think since I learned the basics and when I graduate and go into the working world, it would be more easier for me to navigate the systems and wouldn't be a burden on my co-workers.
Well, we definitely look forward to training and welcoming you back for sure. So, Mr. Murray, to you now, if you can tell me a little bit about where you were placed and then your experience there so far.
Yes, I was placed in the Department of Trade and Consumer Affairs. It was a very nice experience because we got to learn multiple things that help us increase our knowledge and understanding. We learned about the trade license and stuff like that, and we would definitely like to learn more.
Archer praised the interns and emphasized the importance of such opportunities for the BVI's future leaders. He encouraged the students to absorb their surroundings and to think critically and creatively.
Forgive my extended smile, because this is very, very important. It's a great moment. The program, as you know, has been quiet for some years. This is the first time it's been reintroduced, and as you can see and hear, we have great, amazing, and intelligent students. For only being with us for a very short time, you can see they're ready to become department heads themselves. But I think it's important that we understand the future of the Virgin Islands doesn't rest with me, doesn't rest with you. It rests with the young people who are making their way through school, but really who we have to create a path for. So anytime they can have an experience to come in and see, it's a better chance for us to create a better future for them.
And viewers, that's it for today's news roundup. Thank you so much for joining us, and be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com. Like us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. I'm Jacques Wooding, and I'll see you again next week. So have yourself a safe and enjoyable weekend. Happy Mother's Day. Goodbye.